Well, all right, folks. Who all is out there? We got anybody? We got zero. We got zero. Oh, four. We just went up to 4.
Jumped fast.
Went to 4. That's good.
Yeah. We're waiting on this, Gary.
I know. Give everybody a few minutes to jump in. If you are watching right now, if you'll jump in those comments over there, just tell us who you are. Say hello. We got 5. I know this was kind of threw this on you guys last minute.
And we haven't. This is the first time.
This is the first live stream of 2022.
Oh, 2022. I forgot the 2.
You're 2 years behind.
I think I have COVID brain.
2 years behind.
Dooley's on here.
Dooley,
Dan's
good to see you. Dan, good to see you.
See, Dan said, loving that vivid color. I told you it was.
It's a little, it's a little saturated.
Yeah.
That's right. So we got a lot going on here. Number one, we got a new camera up here. I have it basically on.
You haven't seen that video.
An unfiltered.
Go watch that video.
Anyways,
Paul's here. Mike's here.
Paul's here. Good to see you, Paul.
Big Mike's here.
Mike. Yeah, we got a lot of new stuff going on. So I'm working. A part of this is working through some new equipment. So we got a new camera up here. We got new mics here. I don't really need these mics for this, but what I wanted to do was hook these up because we are going to we are starting a podcast. I wanted to hook these up and make sure they work, get familiar with them. These are not the best for a live stream. We have a boom mic up here that we normally use. It's out of the way. It's actually a little easier to deal with because we won't be as close.
Willie said he's missed the live streams. I think I kind of have too.
Yeah.
Gives me a chance to visit with my husband.
That's true. She gets to see me on a screen.
Oh, makes it better.
Lucky.
Ed's here. John Walsh is here. Tyler says this will make the drive back to the yard better.
You're not supposed to watch this and drive. I don't recommend that.
He's only listening. He's just listening.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah. Bill Powell says, great camera. Bill, don't encourage him.
Bill,
please.
thank you. Don't you feel like the production values went way up? Mm-hmm. Again, we got some color issues. I don't know if I like this color, but it is very vivid. We probably need to turn down the saturation on this particular setting a little bit.
Probably should just return it and go with the old camera.
We should definitely not do that. We should definitely not do that. It's a no return policy.
No.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and just kind of jump into this. We got we already got 19 people on here. Hey, thanks everybody for jumping in here. I know this was last minute, so I really appreciate you guys jumping in. Is our audio okay? How's our audio sound? Again, new mics. I got this thing running through at ATEM. Folks, there's a tangle of wires down here. It looks like a freaking rat's nest down here. I got wires. I got HDM wires running all over the place. I got mic wires OCD everywhere. If any of you are really good at wire management, come over. We can trade some gear or whatever else. Of course, we're cutting out a little bit. We can trade for gear or I don't know, some training. I don't care. We'll get you over here. We'll do some wire management. And get
Gary's autograph.
Yeah, I'll give you my autograph.
Yeah. Mike and Dooley said it sounds good.
Good.
Tyler said he's a truck driver. He says he has a truck driver headset with the screen off to the side, so he's good. Thanks for the concern.
But make sure you put this in your log this. All right. This is actually considered, you can actually rest and drive at the same time. I think that goes against that. So you're good to go. All right. So again, I really appreciate everybody jumping on here. Again, I know this was last minute. We got 21 people out here. It's funny. It's easy to take things for granted, right? I was actually watching a live stream of some very well-known YouTubers. I think one of them has well over 100,000. The other one has like 300,000 or 400,000. And they were doing a live stream together, joint live stream. And they had like 18, 20 people on the whole time. So, it's again, we really appreciate the support when we jump on here and you guys are on here and hopefully we bring some value to you and some entertainment, if nothing else. So anyways, I appreciate it. I really do. We got a lot to talk about. Number one, there's a lot of catching up to do as far as the beginning of the year. On top of that, I want to talk about this upcoming training year. We got some really cool stuff lined up for you. Not all of it or most of it is actually not on the training schedule, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Again, wishing everybody a happy new year. Hopefully you got everything you wanted for Christmas or, at least everything that you paid for. So hopefully that's going good. So, yeah.
Looks like you got everything you wanted for Christmas.
I only wanted you, baby. Everything else was a bonus.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. So first of all, let's talk about guns and gear. Did anybody get anything for Christmas that's I don't know. Let's do some show and tell. Is there anything that anybody wants to talk about they got for Christmas when it comes to guns, gear, or anything that they've been wanting for a long time that they're going to be bringing to training or anything like that? I know at least one person on here because I installed a scope, which again, Bill, thank you for
Oh yeah, Bill got the.
Bill, if you haven't seen my most updated
his Tika.
Scope installation video, go check that out. I clarified a few things on there. Hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer than the original one that I did. But if you have any questions about that, and I also wanted to address, I got a lot of questions about why I mount things the way that I do. I know there's a couple other methods out there that I talk about that I've actually used, and there's a reason I use the method that I do, and hopefully that makes things a little bit clear on that.
So Bill got his Tika. By the way, we have a few Tika T3s in stock, guys. If anybody's looking for one of those in 6.5, Theodore said he got a membership to indoor range. That's a pretty cool gift. Get to use that all year. Dan said he got a jet boil that he's really loving.
Hey, look at that! Look at that! Look, camera.
I know
the camera is amazing.
Thanks.
Everybody
Rocks.
is really
Thanks for encouraging him, Rocks.
Really loving
Appreciate
the camera.
it.
I think everybody's loving that camera a lot.
Bill said I followed your instructions, but I think it's on backwards.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just you'll be aiming small, missing small for sure.
Oh,
I got a pro staff scope for my AR Mildot. Nice, Paul. I haven't seen. I've heard of the pro staff. I haven't used those, so maybe I have to get my hands on that for a little bit. Let's see. Got my new Swamp Fox arrowhead. Need to get mounted in 0. Nice.
Oh, Bill.
What's going on?
Bill said the bokeh is crazy.
I know. Isn't that bokeh back there? It's amazing. Look at that. Look at this narrow
you guys
depth
are
of
not
field.
helping the situation. You better hurry up and spend some more money before Gary starves to death next month.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So good. Anybody else got any other gear that we want to talk about?
Blake said he also got a Tika T3. Yeah.
Nice. I'll tell you, folks, that Tika T3 out of the box is probably one of the best rifles there is. I still am a big fan of the Savage, other than the fact that Savage has some cycling issues that they refuse to kind of address head on. That really irritates me as a company, but as a rifle, it definitely is a good rifle. But I'll tell you, again, you can with the 6.5, you can expect to have some cycling issues. Whereas that Tika, when you take it out of the box, it just runs. It's also extremely light. So whether you're doing competition or hunting with it, it is a very versatile rifle. So those of you guys that got the Savage, I know Mike has a Savage. Not Savage, the Tika T3. Man, that is just a great gun right out of the box with nothing needed to do or fix. Let's see what we got here, Paul. I'll bring it when it come diopter wires. Sounds good. Let's see what else. John, I've been trying to find a 400. Yeah, the cameras. You got to look. They're on special sometimes. Cry precision field pants with knee protection. Good. That's cool, John. Those are like $800. You could get like 2 of my cameras for a pair of those Cry precision pants.
It's going all Gucci gear.
Let's see. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it's going to do everything up to 1,000 yards. It's going to do everything, probably to about 1,400. But that's not the Tika, the rifle. That's just basically the max ordnance of what you're going to get out of that cartridge. So, being 6.5.
John's got a question.
Yeah, John. John, I've only seen it. So, everything that Daniel Defense does is pretty good. Is that a gas gun or a bolt gun? I'll let you take a second to answer that. I've seen it. Again, I'm not super familiar with it, but
There we go.
There we
It
go.
says it's a bolt gun.
Yeah. John, I'll do some more research on that. Again, the only issue that I usually have with Daniel Defense is that they want a lot of money for their gear. A lot of times you can find the equivalent or something that performs as well with a little bit lesser price tag, but that's never stopped me from spending money either. So, if Daniel Defense is what you want, I'm sure they do a great job, right? So,
Dan said, "Oh no, did it freeze?"
It did freeze.
Too many megapixels coming from that camera.
Too many. Actually, I think it feeds into like 1080. So we're at 1080. It is what it is. We just have too little megabytes going through the air out here in West Virginia.
John said that gun runs about 2,500 MSRP.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not terrible for what you're going to get out of that. I mean, that's not terrible. I mean, when you're looking at, and especially if it performs really well, I mean, if there's no issues or anything else, again, the Savage Elite Precision back there is about $2,000, and it's a grab bag. You're either going to get a gun that may not cycle all the time, or you might have to spend some time fixing it to where it does cycle properly. So, I would spend $2,500 if I knew I was getting a gun that cycled each and every time. But I haven't done any reviews on it. If you get it, come down. We'll do a review on it together.
Or the Tikka's cheaper, and
the Tikka is cheaper.
So
what's the Tikka run, like 18?
18, 19, somewhere in there.
But for you, John, I'd sell it to you for $2,000. I'm sure of that. No, but I'll do some research on that. I'm curious to see what kind of gun that they're actually putting out as far as a bolt gun goes. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about, and I'm actually glad Bill's on here, and he can actually comment a little bit if he wants. I was really shocked to see we're going to the current events. So I was really shocked to see.
I can hide it.
Yeah, there we go. All right. I was curious to see how the Supreme Court ruling was going to come down with the mandate through OSHA. So, and it to me, I'm glad to see that it's gone. I also think that was because of the way that they addressed it and the way that it was originally implemented through OSHA. I'm curious to see if they're going to go back around and try it again. Of course, we still have private enterprise that are still pushing these mandates, which, again, in my completely non-lawyer educated, law educated point of view, I find that very disturbing when it comes to being, unconstitutional.
Now,
right?
They're still able to force the mandate on anyone receiving Medicaid and Medicare dollars, right? That was my understanding from the news article.
I don't know. I do know that when it comes to the medical professions, they still enforce that. So, and again, I think we're still continuing to see this push. I'm seeing a lot of different things that are kind of converging. Number one, you have where we're seeing more and more overreach, in my opinion, of the government in itself. But then on top of that, what we're seeing is an effort to demonize and even make illegal any sort of resistance, right? So, I mean, when they're actually forming, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're actually forming this domestic terrorist unit, essentially. And what they're talking about essentially is exactly what we're seeing with the Loudoun County schools, where they basically are taking anyone that is dissenting and turning them in one way or another, taking words and using the law against them. So it's very, very scary to see what's going on with our current government. And I know the right wing does it too in their own way. So, but we have government that's increasingly getting out of control. And I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, there's a lot of smart people out there when it comes to these things and different ways to combat this type of situation. But I think it's something that we need to be more aware of. And we're going to continue to be a voice to at least talk about these things and address them and make them aware. I think, what we got going on, I have some opinions when it comes to, this whole January 6th insurrection thing. I think there was definitely some bad actors there. There's no doubt. There was guys going in there with zip ties and things like that were clearly there for some real malicious, or at least potentially some malicious intent. Do I think that it was some coordinated insurrection? I do not. But it also really bothers me, regardless if you're on the left or the right, the fact that there are people from that have been arrested, that have been sitting in jail with little to no charges, is for a really long time put into
Now I read a news article this week that they are finally pressing charges against a lot of them.
There was a few of them that they are starting to press charges on, but again, these people have been sitting in jail for a really long time. They have one guy. I saw him. I don't know if you guys saw Tucker Carlson. They had one guy that they're actually pressing sedition charges on. That is, it doesn't seem believable. I don't know everything. I don't know if everything that he's saying is true, but if what he says is true, and he does seem believable in my opinion, it's pretty scary that we have, because again, we're not seeing equal application of the law when it comes to BLM or some of these other riots and some of these other, the left wing gets passed. We saw them trying to breach the White House back when they were doing the George Floyd protests in DC. They were setting churches on fire. They were doing all as bad or worse, right? And both of them are wrong. Obviously any time that you start trying to push past police, much less break into Capitol, much less break and damage things,
riot, loot, set fires,
push into the chamber of the Senate. I mean, come on. All of that should be punished. Those people were wrong, but I do think that they are turning this into something they're not, and they're using it to gain additional powers that they normally wouldn't have. Because again, as soon as you start labeling things as terrorism, all bets are off.
Bill responded. He says it was actually an easy call. Go ahead. Easy call by the Supreme Court. Employers can do it, and that won't likely be overturned. But I think as the virus becomes less and less deadly, the whole thing will become a non-issue. Just real quick, Paul said, just so you know, Gary, the comments are covering your face.
That's probably better.
It doesn't look like that over here, Paul, so I don't know what the issue is.
The comments are covering my face.
I don't know if it's maybe it's on a narrow screen or something.
I see what you're saying. So should I scoot towards summer? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
How about now?
Thanks, Paul.
Is my face more clear? Let's see. Shannon, selective application law is a bad thing. Absolutely. And again, regardless if we're talking about the left wing or the right wing, what we should both be concerned about is when we start seeing overreach. Whether we have a conservative group of people that are in power that are using the law and using again, when you see people in confinement for the most part non-violent acts for over a year in isolation, that's a big deal. Where they're just now starting to file charges, it's kind of a big deal, and it's definitely concerning, and it's something that I never thought I'd see before. Let's see. We got Theodore Bradley. How do they even find legal standing for any of the mandate when it still doesn't meet the definition of a vaccine or inoculation? Well, I think, Theodore, that is a matter of opinion, right? So while I know what you're saying as far as, when you're having to get boosters over and over again, it's definitely not considered a traditional or conventional vaccination, but there's a lot of people that do consider it, right? So I think that's just a matter of we're definitely getting into some semantics there. We're just a matter of opinion on that. And again, I know from a definition standpoint, I agree with you, but I think that's where they're going to be saying differently. Let's see.
Also, what about this Epps guy?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's so fishy. I definitely. I definitely think that there was federal provocateurs there. I really do. When you start looking at, I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on with the governor of Michigan, the whole conspiracy to kidnap her. Like the two main guys that were charged, the guy that they said was in charge was basically, he was known as like Autism John or something. He's not very smart. He's a very dumb guy. He was homeless. The more and more information that comes out about that, the more and more it seems like a setup. And I do think that there is this initiative to overblow and inflate any sort of right-wing opposition and turn this into, again, it goes from you're a racist to,
terrorist
to now, you're an insurrection. You're a terrorist. And those are all meant to quell and to stop and to tamp down, opposing opinions. So, I mean, it's scary stuff. It really is. And I think that more people need to be paying attention to it. There's no doubt about it. So I don't know who the Ray Epps guy was. I know he was on the FBI's most wanted. And then they contacted him. They just said he didn't go into the Capitol. Whereas I think there's a lot of people that didn't go into the Capitol that still ended up in jail that were doing a lot less than this guy. So it is pretty fishy what's going on when he seems to be one of the definitely on the film side of it. The other thing is, again, there's over 14,000 hours of, all kinds of footage, both inside the Capitol, body cam footage and things like that they're refusing to make public. Now, it's easy to come up with a good reason, right? There's a good, they'll talk about tactics. They'll talk about how they're going to prosecute certain people, and the fact that the same reason they're not saying or admitting if there was indeed federal agents that were involved in that. Of course, they're not going to admit that. If it was a legitimate investigation, they can't admit it for obvious reasons. But if it's an illegitimate, they're not going to admit it and say it because they believe that it's a legitimate one. So, man, it's pretty crazy, that whole thing. There's no doubt about it, and it's definitely concerning. I think that I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out.
Comment above that. I don't know what it means.
Here, you see those better than I do.
Well, I just don't.
I got basically the camera in the way of the. But you're 10-foot YouTube. Well, it's not even a 10-foot YouTube poll. Again, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying that, Theodore, when it comes to your comment about whether or not it's a vaccine, there's going to be a lot of scientists that are going to get on there and they're going to say that it is. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of people at the CDC that says it is a vaccine. They're still calling it a vaccine. The White House says vaccine. So I agree with you in the fact that it's definitely not. Oh God, here we go. All right,
We're back.
It's definitely not a traditional vaccine. There's no doubt about it, or conventional one. But again, that's what they're going to say, and they're going to use an emergency to again gain new powers, and that's what this is all about. Both from the point of the vaccine and COVID in general, continuing to push and get more and more power and establish new norms, if you will. And on top of that, also push the right-wing terrorist narrative to gain new powers and more authority. Go ahead.
Billy says he wants to know more about the lady that was killed.
Yeah. I've seen some footage on that. In my opinion, that chick was murdered, man. I don't know any other way to. Ashley Babbitt was her name. I don't know what else to say about it. That's my opinion.
Says Epps was brought up in congressional hearing. The FBI refused to answer.
Yep. You would expect to see long-term incarceration of small misdemeanors, accusation of sedition and terror for not being lockstep with the party. Yeah, no, 100%. And this is exactly the type of thing that does happen in other countries, and it's shocking to see it happen in ours. It's sedition is a it's a big thing. When you're saying you're doing an insurrection, and that's the thing too, is like my opinion on this is that, if there's not guns, it's not an insurrection. Nobody is going to legitimately try to, and they're running two narratives. The narrative is that this is a planned and coordinated insurrection. Well, if that's the case, you'd think there'd be thousands of people. And if you're really trying to overthrow the government or at least even try to withhold a lockdown and cordon off just the Capitol building, folks, anybody with literally a private in the military would know that you're going to need some significant amount of weapons. And I'm talking about actually firearms, not, clubs, bats, or, some broom handles or whatever else they had. And again, all of that stuff, if they hit a cop, if they did anything wrong, they broke into the Capitol, charged the crap out of them. I'm all about it. But again, that's a big, felony assault versus sedition and insurrection is a big leap. And I don't see how they're making it. And I think they're making that leap and they're pushing that narrative for political reasons, period. I mean, the amount of Jesus, the drama and the theater that went on January 6th was disgusting.
John's right there with you. Third world countries use guns to take over.
Right.
Bill, we're going to get there, by the way, to answer your question.
Which one?
Bill. We're going to get there.
Yes, there will be a long-range class this year. So that's one of the things I'm still finalizing. I have two different ranges that my big push this year was that we were definitely going to have some ranges over 1,000. Look, everybody that comes to a long range course, the one thing they want to do and to put on there, if nothing else, a bucket list is say they've shot over 1,000 yards. Panthera was about 800 or so where we're at, and you can do a lot, you can learn a lot. And if you're shooting consistently 800, you're doing some pretty miraculous things. As a matter of fact, sniper school, again, when I was last there, it was only out to 800 yards. And so that's actually why they have that range the way they have it, because they were running DDM courses, defensive marksmanship courses for this Department of State, and their standards were also the same as the military, which was 800 yards. So that's why they have that course set up the way they are. That being said, I wanted to have some ranges and some venues set up to where we can shoot over 1,000. I have 2 of them. I'm waiting to go to, one is about 2 hours away, 2.5, 3 hours away, actually. One is right down the road. So I'm waiting to see back. And I was actually supposed to have a meeting with the head guy there today. And we cut out. All right, we're back. Maybe. I was actually supposed to have a meeting with him today. He had actually been out last week. All right. Maybe we're back. He was actually out last week with COVID. He was back this week, but then suddenly he had a fever spike. So we had to cancel our meeting today. But hopefully early next week, I'll be able to put that. But the fact of the matter is that if that doesn't work out the way that I want it to, worst case scenario, we'll be having level 1 courses down in Panthera, which is about an hour and a half from here, Winchester area. And then we'll have level 2 courses down by Roanoke. It's Roanoke, right?
Yeah. Theo says just the video cuts, the audio keeps going.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Good. I won't be.
He also said they jumped to sedition, so it'll be a compromise when they land on any charges. That's probably true.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're right. Number one, the reason I think they started launching those sedition charges is that was one of the topics that kept coming up. Like, what most of these people were being charged with were misdemeanor. Trespassing was one of the main things. A lot of these people have been sitting in jail for the last year. They either had no charges pressed on them, or the only thing they had against them was trespassing.
And they wouldn't set bail?
They wouldn't set bail. They just basically threw these people in isolation. It's pretty crazy what's going on with that. And what was kept being brought up in the media for the few people that were actually pursuing this was the fact, like, hey, you're saying this is sedition, you're saying this is insurrection. What charges are being brought that actually support that? So there was no charges. I know the video's out, but hopefully you're still getting my audio. But none of those types of charges were being brought against these people. And I think they just basically had to essentially start charging them.
John said we should have gotten the $500 camera.
What we need is better interwebs, John. That's what we need.
Also said there might be a loose video cable.
No, it's definitely. I think it's just
bandwidth.
Yeah, it may be my HDMI cable. I doubt it though.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the 800 meter thing was a product of the ability to mill a target unknown distance past 800. It was very hard to mill target. There's no doubt about the fact that once you're getting out past a certain range, that milling a target is definitely much more difficult. I can tell you, you can mill with enough practice. You can definitely mill, out to 1,000 plus. There's no doubt about it, and get it within the 10 to 15% that you need to actually hit the thing.
Did you try turning it on and off?
No, I did not try turning it on and off.
Dooley said our audio is good though, so we got a couple of different people confirming.
All right, so it may be a video cable, and it may be. So again, I have it. The new setup here is that we have this camera here, and I could actually have a separate camera that I should have showed you guys. But basically what I wanted to do is have multiple camera angles available. So I have an A10 mini, and that's basically a video switcher, right? So that is a new cog in the system that wasn't there before. And of course we got a new camera that's there. So basically what I have is I have the camera running into the A10 mini, and then the A10 mini running into the computer. Now what's amazing, if I had set up, I didn't want to add too many cogs in the new system, right? But I can actually I got 2 other cameras where we will be able to switch from viewpoint to viewpoint.
I'm pretty sure the last like 3 live streams we've done, it's been a new system a new something every time. And all these cogs and the wheels are giving me lots of gray hair. I'm just saying, it's his fault, people. His fault.
So again,
John said, just give it a smack.
just smack it.
Hey, Daryl, how's it going? Daryl made it in.
You're not talking about summer, I hope, John.
At least somebody likes me, Chris. Thanks. See, Chris gets it.
Chris, you're not helping. You're right down the road. I will come down there and I will whoop your ass. I swear to God. Don't be a man trader, Chris.
Oh, well, Rox was already a girl trader with saying she liked the new camera.
Well, she was just saying what she felt was right in her heart.
Oh, so it's Chris.
The Chris is not. Chris knows better.
Oh, man.
All right. So we have that coming up on the train set. We're going to have, I want to have at least, when it comes to long range, we're going to have at least 2 level 1s and 2 level 2s. And then what I also plan on doing this year is definitely once we get the venue right, I already have in my back pocket set up a competition style training course for long range. So if you're thinking about getting in PRS, what we'll do is we got some guys that are into PRS that can really help you with that. We'll get you set up, make it a lot of fun, but we're going to come to a level 1. I won't make level 2 a prerequisite for the PRS, the competition course, but it will definitely help you out a lot, because we are definitely going to start getting into shooting completely without dialing and from various shooting positions, which we won't get into as much with the hold-offs on the competition stuff, but we'll definitely show you how to use bags and positional shooting pretty heavily into that. What else we got?
Chris, by the way, thanks for that referral that we got this week.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep. The other, I know, Joe, trust me. She will get me when I'm sleeping. I'm not. I know better. As far as the other courses I haven't put up yet, we're still finalizing those. We're definitely going to have some low light carbine and handgun. If you haven't attended those in the past, they're a lot of fun.
And just FYI, there are prerequisites for that for obvious reasons. So if you think that you may want to attend those toward the fall when we have those on the schedule, make sure you're hitting up those prereqs in the spring and the summer so that you don't end up in the fall and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, folks, I am not going to do what some of these other companies are doing. I'm just never going to get into where it's like, hey, you're new, but now we're thrown into shoot house. We're doing live fire. We're at low light. We're just overwhelming people when they don't even have basic skills. So, people call me up and email me all the time and tell me that they're, Delta SEAL Team 6 guys and, they shouldn't have to take these prereqs. I don't care. I've never seen you. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to put myself, my instructors, or my other students and clients in harm's way because you think you're something. And honestly, I'll tell you, every time that I've gotten into that debate, and I know some of you have heard me say this before, but every time that somebody tells me how awesome they are and they should have to come to a prerequisite course, and then they finally do come to a prerequisite course, number one, they're almost always a safety head. Number two, not one person, even the ones that were decent shooters, not one time has any of those people actually been, Top Gun or even close to it in any of the other courses. So, I just
and you got a whole video on this. I mean, it's just a training mindset. If you think you're too good to come learn some basics or go over the basics or refresh on the basics, then
then you're not paramount material, to be honest with you. You're not who we want at our courses.
See, Julie said we're awesome together. I mean, I'm more funny, but
I'm better looking.
Johnny's I'm going to slap him now.
All right. So, we got some low light courses coming up. We are going to, by the end of the year, I am going to start implementing some, we already have our tactical 2-gun course, which is kind of a intro into CQB. Some of you that are on this have been to that already. I do want to get into some team CQB. So basically 2-man up to like probably 4-man close quarters.
Is this kind of like a home defense style CQB?
No, this will be
No?
definitely much
Okay.
more, because you're never going to have 4 people. You're not going to call it 4 buddies, and because you're
Well, I just thought 2 people, husband and wife.
maybe, yeah. So 2 people.
I'm just
But-
asking.
And the reality is all of these principles are just that, the principles. So they're universally applicable. So whether we're talking about 2-man and you're taking you and your wife through it, that definitely could be applicable when it comes to home defense. Usually when it comes to home defense, more of that tactical 2-gun things that we talk about there with 1-man room entry or 1-woman room entry is a little bit more applicable. It makes more sense what that goes. So we are going to be implementing some team CQB or multi-person CQB courses. So stay on the lookout for that. I'm going to, right now I'm researching some different options when it comes to force on force products. Right now we have some UTM guns and stuff like that. We're not going to be doing those courses live fire. I'm not putting 4 dudes on there. The reality is, folks, whether you're special operations or SWAT, or you have thousands of hours on the range. And with law enforcement, that might be a little bit exaggeration, but literally in the military, especially in special operations, you have thousands of hours on the range before you start going into CQB. And people want to take a couple of courses. They got literally, maybe 20 hours or so.
And you have
experience
lots of
with a
time
gun.
like gelling with your team and learning the personalities of those other people, and
Yeah. So
something to say for that.
I think people in this industry need to stress how literally dangerous CQB and team, small unit tactics and things like that when it comes to room entry. I think that is, underappreciated and under taught, right? It's not taught nearly enough. So again, it's serious business, and I want to make sure that we do it right and we do it to where no one is going to get hurt. I know there's another guy. He's actually an SF guy. What's that company called?
Rockwell Tactical.
Rockwell Tactical, I
It's up
think.
in PA.
I mean, they've had like 3 people shot. I know at least 2 for sure. People that have been
I think
shot.
the times it happened, he wasn't actually on the range. Somebody else was running his class.
That's not an excuse.
I know, but I'm just saying, like.
So the point is that you can't take this stuff for granted.
Theo wants to know where we're located.
We are located in the DC area, basically about an hour and a half from DC. We're basically based out of Martinsburg, West Virginia, which is just outside of Winchester, Virginia. So to give you some sort
just
of frame
below
of
Maryland,
reference.
right above Virginia.
About 4 hours from New York as well. All right. What does Mike say down there?
Mike says 2-gun was great. Can't wait to do it again. Bill said shooting and other basics are fungible skills, not like riding a bike.
100%.
And this is a good one. Dan says all the advanced courses are the basics done faster.
Yeah, so it's the basics done faster, but it's piling on more and more of the basics. All those skills that you normally do.
Theo's far away.
That's why God made airplanes. No, look, we have people come from California. We have people come from all over. We'd love to have you out, and we can, it is what it is. We can help you with lodging accommodations and things like that. What was I saying?
Somehow it's not like riding a bike. These are all perishable skills.
Yeah, something else. But anyways, we're talking about the basics. Yeah, so it's not just the basics. It's all these basics that you normally do one at a time, whether it's drawing and shooting. But now we're also talking about drawing, shooting, walking, running. Looking at corners, knowing where your teammates are, all in low light conditions and multi different conditions, working through hallways. You're basically doing chess, running, moving with 4 other people and shooting at the same time, identifying targets, figuring out if they're no shoot targets, having to know where your muzzle is at all times. I mean, think about it. When we were on a flat range, we got a line of people. We still have people that can't keep their muzzle down range or have no muzzle awareness. Much less you get into a 3-dimensional shoot house where you have to keep all these things in track. And it's not that you don't have the physical ability. It's the mental ability. People get overwhelmed mentally when you're dealing with that much stuff. Most of the people out there that have done some shooting, just be quite honest, if you haven't done that and you haven't been in that type of environment, you'll be surprised at how quickly you would be overwhelmed in that type of environment. And that's why you have to build things up and take one thing at a time, because it's a lot, man. It really is.
Theo, just to clarify, we're not actually in DC. We're actually in West Virginia, which is pretty gun friendly. So
I just say as a reference, we're about an hour and a half from DC, or hour and 45 minutes from DC.
John thinks it's worth the trip.
We are definitely worth the trip. But we are in God's country in West Virginia. Wild and wonderful.
That was cheesy. Sorry. Time to save money. Save up for those classes.
Yeah. Save up. Hey, you know what? Oh, a big announcement. And I'm glad Dan is on here. If you guys haven't seen, this is something that people have been asking us to do for, I don't know, at least 5 years. And that is, now we have a payment plan or layaway plan, whatever you want to call it, set up on the website. So, and that can be used for courses as well. So
anything over $100, you can choose what was it? 60,
it's
90.
a 30, 90, 180.
Yeah. I think it's 30 days, same as cash.
Sure, Dan's jumping on here, he's yelling at the screen right now. I told you guys. So anyways, a payment plan. We have a payment plan.
There's 3 options for how long you want.
3 options. Jump on there, start putting that stuff up, fill your shopping carts full of stuff, start making payments, and then
Bill says, you can come and you can meet me, which is the best part.
It is. It really is. She's not allowed on the range anymore.
No, the payment plan is really exciting. We've already had some people taking advantage of that, and like Gary said, you can even use it for courses, which
just to clarify, everything has to be paid for before you show up for the course.
Apparently that's also, we're not going to ship it to you before
we're not going to ship you any products.
Apparently that is not an implied thing, because like somebody bought $120 item and then paid $20 on it. And apparently we're like, oh, are you shipping it out now, or do I have to pay that off first? Well, you kind of got to pay it off first.
Here we go. 30 days, 90 days, and 6 months. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
30 days, same as cash. 90 days, small fee. 6 months, small fee. There you go.
Obviously, just because we're sitting here holding the product for you or whatever. Luke says, don't tell my wife.
That's the whole point of it, Luke. That's the whole point of it, Luke. Mm-hmm. You don't tell anybody. Just a little money going out at a time. They don't see that. It's not like if you go out and buy a $400 camera.
Scott wants to know when we're getting some new Spartan folders in stock. Scott, I've been looking at those. I have a couple in stock, but they are coming out with some crazy good new designs with that laser machine that they've got.
Yep.
I need to get designs in.
Do we have some of the stonewashed in stock?
Yeah.
We do have some of the stonewashed in stock. I don't know if there was a particular one, Scott, that you were looking for. But yeah. I want to show that. You can show what? Summer wants to show a carbon fiber one that we have that I didn't know we had, because it's probably going. My problem is I'm addicted to our own product.
You're not getting it.
and now I've kind of moved into another expensive hobby. Well, again, it's one of those things that you got to have. It's cameras and stuff. But
it's that Kranos with the carbon fiber.
Oh yeah,
that's super sweet.
Well, you got to get up there and show it to the. So yeah, these are So I don't know if you guys can see this, how well you can see that. So hopefully, and it's probably not gonna, because it's focusing on the eye. Anyways, check this out. Look at
they're on the website,
Kranos carbon fiber, but it's a carbon fiber inlay. It's really cool, blue anodized. Is that titanium, or was that?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Titanium. Yeah. So this is that all that bluing is anodized titanium. Folks, if you're not familiar with Spartan Blades, go check them out. They got just a really cool. Again, 2 former Green Berets. Both of them are friends of mine.
And then the Spartan,
and then most of those are actually designed by Bill Harsey, which is another friend of mine that has been in knife design for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you look back here, up there's the Yarbrough knife, which is the Green Beret knife. He was actually the one that designed that and designed a bunch of stuff for Gerber too. But anyways, just awesome dude.
Yep.
What other questions you got?
Don't get high on your own supply.
Try not to.
Yeah.
Try not to.
Yeah.
Put the questions.
Andy's on here. Luke said he'll be over soon. Come on over, Luke. We're like the Walmart of good stuff down here. Andy's here. John says, John, did you get a Berserker shirt? I can't remember if you got one. You need one if you don't have one for sure. It's got Gary on it. Paul says, "Yep, that's the Daryl I know." Yep. Well, Scott has the all blacked out version of the Spartan Hersey folder.
Yep.
That he got from us. Yep. Need to get another one. We have a Stonewash, which is the classic in stock right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Scott, no out of stock.
Probably the sizes he wants. Yeah, we need to do a reorder on the Berserkers.
Yeah,
for sure.
we will. Scott, I wonder. Yeah, man, I'm glad you like that. Speaking of which, so we got SHOT Show going on this upcoming weekend. Scott, we'll have a conversation offline, but I'm curious to see how shows are doing now, or how things are going back to that.
I had someone call me a couple of days ago trying to get me to get a booth at a show.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about whether or not we're going to go back out to the Great American Outdoor Show. I'm not, man. There's just, and Scott knows. Scott does these types of things. He sets up booths, and he always helps us out every year, and just does an amazing job. But that was kind of his industry, was doing these shows and making booths, and the design stuff he does is crazy. Triton exhibits. But anyways, man, there's just so much work that goes into all that stuff, and then of course, the Great American Outdoor Show is literally like the Ranger School of exhibits. It's like 10 days.
Oh my gosh.
It is on your feet 12 hours a day. It's no joke.
And now Scott's got a really cool climbing gym that's opening up right
nice.
up in PA.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think they were just waiting on some permits, if I'm not mistaken. Really nice climbing gym.
We'll have to go check that out.
Yeah. Willie says, think you should add some patches to the list.
Willie, with all that stuff, it just takes up so much time just designing the right thing, and then finding, then being happy with it. That's really what it comes down to. Is there's definitely some 3D patches and stuff that we looked into doing, and I just don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. I mean, those things are kind of cool, and there's some swag. I don't know if you make any money off them. I don't know if anyone ever saw a patch and was like, oh, hey, you know what? I need to go train with those people because they get some really cool patches. I'm not sure if that happens, but at the end of the day, I think once we get to a point to where I don't have to do all that stuff, or Summer doesn't have to do all that stuff, you'll probably see some more sort of side projects that we can push off. Like, hey, you know what? We want a really cool patch. Might come up with that. It's just one of those things.
Yep. AJ, I agree.
Yep.
I used to.
Absolutely, AJ.
I needed like 2 weeks to recover after. Dan's got a question about a gun.
Yep.
Springfield Armory announced a new bullpup turned off by Springfield, but what do you think?
So bullpups are really cool. There's some advantages and disadvantages, but I think overall, the advantage of a bullpup is that you can get basically, if you have, 16 inches, I think is the minimum, 14 and a half with a some sort of basically overall 16-inch barrel, right? But with the bullpup design, you can basically put that 16-inch barrel into basically a 16-inch gun, right? Just the way that it's set up, a little bit longer with the buttstock. But basically, you can take what would be the equivalent of maybe a 6 or 7-inch barreled M4 and have it the same overall length as you would a bullpup with a completely non-NFA barrel. So that is the advantage, and I think with CQB there's some advantages there. Now where the disadvantage is the goofy way that you gotta reload the thing, and it's way up in your armpit, and there's some issues there. So, and I will also say I've never seen a bullpup with a good trigger, whether you're talking about a Styrog or the AWI or any of these other ones. The triggers on those things are just absolutely horrendous. But I think with CQB, anything that you're going to be in tight quarters where you don't want to have to get a tack stamp for a short barrel, but you want an overall a very compact overall length rifle, I think they make a lot of sense. I haven't seen that one, the Hellion. I have to check that out.
Yeah, Willie, that was one of the good things about Great American Outdoor Show, is just getting a chance to visit and reconnect with previous clients and
meeting new clients
and just meeting cool new people.
100%. I mean, I actually really loved just getting to meet people and to talk to so many people in a day. It was a lot of fun, and you establish some really good relationships and things like that. Several of the people that are probably on this feed right now, and definitely several of the people that are regular
clients.
but also you see on our social media platforms a lot, whether they come to our courses a lot or not, there are people that we met at the Great American Outdoor Show. So there's a lot of benefit there. It's just a lot of work. There's no doubt about that.
Yep. Theo, I guess to mount bullpups. Scott responded too.
Yeah, no, I mean, Theo, there's no doubt about what bullpup do you have currently, Theo? And go ahead and answer that, and we'll come back to that. Where's Scott at?
Scott says, thanks for the business love. Trade shows have come back very strong. We're very busy. The climbing gym is ready to open. We're just holding private events for friends and family. It would be great. You and any alumni, I'm having a hard time reading it, interested for a Paramount Tactical Day. That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Our instructors would love to return the favor to you and yours. Yep.
Yeah. So again, and I didn't even know what was going on with Scott. So and his business, and if he was still even doing the exhibits, things like that. With everything, I know he'd been shut down for a while for COVID. But I can't, folks. Number one, Triton Exhibits. On top of that, Scott is one of the most genuine, good dudes that I've ever met, and he has helped us out so much with our.
I don't know if we can ever repay him.
I mean, we would have not been doing trade shows. We definitely not would have been at the Great American Outdoor Show if it was not for Scott.
Or we would have just had a little table.
Yeah, and that goes with a lot of the folks that we have relationships with, and hopefully we try to reciprocate. And I don't know if we always do it enough, but another guy that helps us out just an absolute ton beyond anything that we could repay him for is Dan Alonzo, who's on here. But he does all our web stuff, just does a great job. This business has never been about me, or it's a passion and something that I love to do, and that's to teach. But I'll tell you, it's been our clients as well as our other instructors, and we just are very, very thankful at how gracious and just the great people that we end up surrounding ourselves, and that is by no effort of our own or anything that we did.
I agree. I mean, it's almost like those regular clients. It becomes like a family feel, like a club almost, for lack of better cool word. Theo responded, he's got multiple 12 gauge, and Ed says he runs a couple of IWI.
Yep.
Bullpups. Yep.
Yeah. That's probably something that I should get a little more into. I think all of the bullpups are really cool, and I think there is a lot of benefit to those. There's no doubt about it, and that's probably something that I should have a little bit more subject matter expertise on. So I guess I'll get off the camera here and go buy a couple of bullpups.
Great. Thanks, guys. John says he can't wait to get back out there. Yep, John, we're looking forward to having you down. John, did you ever even get to meet Gary in person? I think you just came down for the med course that I ran.
No, I've only seen him on America's Most Wanted.
He's a Marine. You guys will get along great. Yep.
What else is going on?
Live Q&A. Did anybody have any?
Yeah.
Questions?
So we got technical or gun related questions. Man, we got 27 people on here for like an hour. That's good stuff.
It's exciting for us.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a lot to anyone who doesn't do this kind of stuff, but pretty exciting for us.
Yep, it is. Some work goes into the stuff, and it's great to jump on here and know that we're going to have some good, fun, enjoyable conversations. I really did. I missed this as well.
Yep.
What other questions we got? Any gripes or complaints about summer?
Every time. Every time.
What else we got?
Let's see what we got. Any thoughts on the new caliber between 380 and 9 mil? What about the new 10 mil that's been coming out? I've seen quite a few Smith & Wesson M&Ps in 10 mil. That's
not new.
And I'm pretty sure that M&P, the new style that just came out, it just has started popping up on the warehouses. Anyway,
gotcha.
I'm sure I sound like it.
No, you don't sound like. Any thoughts on the new caliber between 380 and 9 mil? What caliber was that? Because no, I'm not aware of any new caliber that. And honestly, folks, a lot of that stuff. When we start seeing a lot of the 30 Super carriers and new, gotcha. No, I have to do some research on it. Don't know the first thing about this. This is honestly the first time I'm hearing about it, because again, a lot of the stuff I end up insulated. I won't say insulate. I don't seek that type of thing out, just because you see so many trends, especially with calibers. At the end of the day, when it's all come down to it, I'm pretty sold on the performance of 9 millimeter, and there's a lot of benefits to 9 millimeter. And honestly, if you're picking the right bullet technology, man, 9mm is hard to beat when it comes to capacity, lethality, low recoil. I mean, it's just hard to beat.
Yep.
10mm is 10mm is the bear killer, right? So if I'm going into Alaska or something like that, I mean, there's no doubt about it. So I have to republish it. I did a comparison between 9mm, and I probably need to do a video on it because it's actually pretty interesting stuff. But basically, the terminal ballistics between 9mm versus 45 versus 40, and a lot of those other things. When it comes to the FBI stats, say that basically it on average it takes 3 rounds of 45, 40, or 9mm to incapacitate a person. So there's not a big difference in lethality between those 3, regardless of what anybody thinks, right? I saw an old meme one time. It showed a guy who was carrying like a howitzer round, like this big howitzer around his shoulder, and it said like, what 45 guys think they shoot, right? And there's some truth to that. 9mm is lethal as heck.
45 is more expensive, right?
It is, but it's also, it makes a slightly bigger hole, but it doesn't have what kills is speed, right? So that terminal velocity, or the actual velocity, the muzzle velocity is what really it does the most damage, because that's what's going to create a hydrostatic shock and do the most internal damage. So anyways, now when you look at those, you start doing an analysis of these rounds. Basically, when you see 10mm compared to all those other ones, it's like 9mm here, 45 and 40 are right here, but then suddenly 10mm like shoo, you see this big graph, and I'll post some stuff. But 10mm is no joke. But with that being said, 10mm is also no joke when it comes to recoil too. So there's some, and it also comes down to capacity as well. So you're not gonna be able to shoot it as fast. You're not gonna carry as many rounds. But man, when it takes, like I said, average of about 3 rounds for 9mm, 3 rounds of 45, and then you basically, if you look at 10mm wrong, you die. So it is the actual energy. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, but again, I have a post on that somewhere. It's ridiculous.
Andy's got a good one.
So
any medical topics or classes anyone would like to see? Andy is, if you come to any of our medical classes, Andy's usually the one up there.
He's our senior medical instructor. He runs our entire med program.
So,
we actually need to do one of these, Andy, one time, get you over here, or maybe we can come to your house, something like that, and we can set up a live stream. So I think there's a lot of good medical questions that should be addressed on the live stream. That'd be a lot of fun as well.
Yep. So anybody got any questions, just pop those in.
Yeah, if you got any medical courses specifically that you'd like to see, Andy is awesome, but don't feed his ego too much, John.
Scott says hello. Hey, Scott.
Scott, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man.
So Scott was out breaking in a Tika.
Happy New Year.
Tika T365 today too. Andy says sounds good. Yep. Let's see.
Any other questions?
I guess
about guns, gear.
John says the class made him sign up for EMT training.
Nice.
Yeah, that is cool.
So one of the things that we are really planning on working on the schedule this year, me and Andy were talking about, we really want to get a wilderness medical course. There's and I'm probably going to bungle this, but there's like a 7 or 5 day one, and then, or 2 week one.
I thought it was 3 and 7.
Something like that. There's a long one and a short one.
You messed it up.
But I'm completely bungled. That's why I need Andy here. But we really want to do that. Obviously, there's a time dedication thing that we run into, and I think it's one of those things that if we could get a few, because that is a course that is not held everywhere, so it's a matter of getting the word out and getting the marketing right on that, where we could definitely get people out there. And it's a very 2 and 7 day. There you go. It is a very sought after course nationally, right? But the problem is that when you're marketing to a very regional area, like we're doing in a very small sliver of people, it's just hard to get enough people in a course that requires that many resources, that requires that much time. So, basically
I think on the 7 day especially requires a lot of planning for people coming to, which I understand.
Absolutely. And so you're either doing a full 7 day, what Andy and I have talked about is actually maybe doing somewhere we're actually breaking that up into a couple different weekends. But there again, if you're starting to get people from further away, that creates another challenge in itself. So it's a matter of finding the right venues, because it needs to be in kind of a wilderness type, maybe like a national park or a state park or something like that. Maybe we can start reaching out, but I think it'd be a really, really great course. It is a national certification, and it's a very in-depth course, and it would be really good. Andy, any other thing you want to throw up there? The wilderness first responder courses is a 7-day. Any other information you want to throw up there, Andy, while we got you on here, so that I don't bungle that up completely? Matter of fact, Andy, let's plan on getting you over here next Friday if you're available, and let's do we need to do a live stream on some med stuff anyhow, if you're available.
Luke said, Luke's a teacher, so medical courses for educators, stop the bleed used to be a hot topic for public. It should still be a hot topic. And I just, believe it or not, I have offered some free training to one of the local schools, and they turned me down. So
yeah, so we actually started an entire nonprofit kind of built around that, Luke. So Archangel Counter Threat Solutions, which we still have going. I think we're starting to change focus a little bit, and we started that right before the pandemic, of course. So it kind of shut us down a little bit. But without a doubt, I'm very passionate about making sure that schools, when it comes to active shooter events, there's some very easy, basic things that we can mitigate and deter those from ever taking place. But there again, the fact that we don't have teachers, every single teacher out there with advanced first aid, going into trauma medicine, they're not trained. And the fact that there's not trauma kits in every single classroom in the United States is just a freaking, to me, it's unacceptable. And that's something that we want to push. The other part of that we're doing, and we're continuing to do, is making sure that every single law enforcement officer, that's our goal too, to make sure that they get trained and they have the medical equipment as well. So those are two areas that we want to continue to push. And as I think this pandemic thing winds down, we'll be able to start winding those things up. And unfortunately, it usually takes some sort of event for people to put the focus back on those things. But just go wiggle that HDMI cord and just make sure that that's not the issue. It may be. Yeah, I don't know. So we're blacked out, but you hear the sweet sound of my velvety voice.
tried to come back.
I mean, believe it or not, one of our traumatic injury response courses last year, we had a teacher out from Colorado. She's actually teaches in the Columbine system, and she had some training. I think she thought and she had some knowledge, but she was just mind blown by what she didn't know and the gear that they didn't have. And she was taking copious notes to go back to her school system and say, look, these are the things we got to implement. We're way behind the curve here. And this was in Columbine school system, where they had tried to implement quite a bit of stuff, more so than a lot of other school systems probably. But anyway, it's just a matter of educating people about what they don't know.
Yeah. And, again, it unfortunately, it's one of those things that takes a bad event to take place before people are, put it back into focus. It's never going to happen to you until it happens to you, right?
Mike says your voice is so soothing. Is that
I know.
for Gary or Summer? Don't. Here we go. Here we go.
I'm actually, somebody's contacted me. We're going to start reading books, doing some of those soothing night apps to put you to sleep.
See, he put Dooley right to bed. Bedtime.
Look at that. Summer falls asleep when I talk to her too. What else we got in here?
Yeah, I agree, Theo. They need trauma kits even without the bullet holes. That's true. There's lots of other trauma that can happen.
Again, and that's the thing. Is it like the number one cause of death between the ages of 1 and 44? All right, the most commonly healthy sector of people. It's traumatic injury, and it's not. Obviously, most of that is not freaking bullet holes and ballistic issues. It is just everyday accidents. So that's what those courses are there for. And car wrecks, again, car wrecks. We've already had one person without a doubt save a person's life leaving one of our courses. When they actually came across a car wreck in a rural environment. Yep. What else we got?
Just going back to that. It says this is as good as a Friday night deadlift at Gold's in Winchester many years ago.
Joey, you don't have to respond here, but maybe send me you can if you want, but a direct message. Tell me where you're at these days. I know you were all over the world there for a little bit.
Yeah.
What else?
We got any tips on shooting in the cold Canada before and after, rifle storage after?
First of all, leave Canada. Shooting in the cold. So no major thing when it comes to no major issues or differences I've ever seen where shooting in cold environments, right? So when it comes to, what you are going to see on cold steel is condensation. So as soon as you take that rifle outside of that cold environment and you throw it into the house, it's going to start collecting a lot of condensation. A lot of that is going to be inside your barrel. So you definitely have to, just like I would consider coming out of the cold, just like you'd come out of a rain. So, wipe that thing down, throw a little oil on it, throw some Lucas Extreme Duty Oil, which is on our website. Again, that is one of the best preservatives that I found. It has the right consistency to where it stays on the steel. It's not going to just wipe off. It's just the right, viscosity. So again, it works as a great preservative, and it just does all the things that it needs to do. Bolt guns are a little bit different. I would definitely completely take down that bolt gun. I would definitely clean it. Again, we got a video that shows you those cleaning procedures, but the main thing here is cleaning it. More importantly, making sure that you're getting the condensation out of all the nooks and crannies and any other moisture that's going to, collect in all those places that you don't want it to. And particularly on a long range gun, a lot of times you'll see where you basically need to take that barrel out of the stock or the chassis, whatever you have that mounted to, because again, all that stuff likes to collect underneath the barrel where it mounts to, either under in the stock, the area where in the fore end where you're going to have that free floating barrel area, all the places you can't see. So I would definitely plan on taking that stuff apart and doing what you can to address. It's all about moisture.
So Luke, I mean, this is kind of going backwards here, but Luke says parents need to speak up if they want education change, squeaky wheel, which is true, but then you're labeled a domestic terrorist.
It's a good way to end up in
right. And then Theodore says the new school saying is squeaky wheel gets the FBI.
That's legit.
This one's a good one. Parents need to get into being on the school boards.
Yeah, no, there's without a doubt. I think people have really, I know that this pandemic really opened my eyes up to the importance of being involved in local, and we've talked about this on another live stream, but being involved in the local politics, right, is something that we take for granted. And especially being here in like rural West Virginia, where honestly, like our kids go to 2 public schools, very conservative teacher and faculty for the most part. They got a couple of weirdos out there, but for the most part, down to earth, normal people with fairly traditional values that don't believe in 47 different genders. So again, people like me take those things for granted where we happen to live. But I'll tell you, if you're in places where in the DC area or Loudoun County or out west, Washington, Oregon, California, the coasts, right? When you're on the coasts, whether it be the East Coast or West Coast, we definitely need to get teachers more and more involved, because the reality is even when you're talking about places that are very liberal, there's a lot more conservatives out there than we realize. And even as a conservative or whatever your values are there, you're underrepresented to the actual population. We need to just be a little bit more aware of that.
Speak up enough.
Yeah, we don't speak up enough. And that's the other thing too. And that's why like, you can have the Democrats go out and burn down cities, and it's really not that big of a deal, but you get a couple of people that get out there, and they again, I want to keep a good balance of what went on at the Capitol. It was wrong, right? But again, it definitely wasn't as bad as most of the BLM riots and protests. So again, once you start getting a very few conservatives out there that actually speak their mind a little bit, suddenly there's a lot more of a spotlight on them. So we need to get more of that, and people need to be used to us, protesting in a peaceful manner or speaking up in a peaceful manner. We just got to get better at that. And that's just something that conservatives and Republicans in general.
I
don't
mean,
do very
just
well.
next door in Jefferson County, they tried to fire some people in the school system that just attended the January 6th riots.
Yeah.
They were just outside, just there.
Yep.
They didn't do anything. I think they got their jobs reinstated after a legal fight, but yeah. Well, no more questions coming in right now. So
New York sucks. It does, John. Does, John.
move, John. Just move
Get
to
out
West
of New
Virginia.
York. I'll tell you, I'm actually at how the new mayor of New York is turning. I mean, he's pretty much as bad as de Blasio. I at least thought.
I was surprised too. A couple of things I read.
Some of the initiatives that he's behind and pushing, of course, they're really pushing right now so that everybody in New York, whether you're a citizen or not, an American citizen, can vote. And I think that's already passed. But he's behind that. And he's behind a few other things. I was really shocked. I thought he was going to bring a little bit more common sense,
too.
but it doesn't look like that. I think the
pretty-
city of New York is. I think he played he pushed the narrative that he was going to be, law and order, and a little bit more common sense and a little bit more of a moderate. When you're going within 20 years, going from Rudy Giuliani to what we're seeing now, and as far as New York, it's pretty shocking. But again, that's another place where there's a lot more conservatives than people think, or at least very moderate folks that don't want a Giuliani. I mean, that don't want a de Blasio or some of these other kooks that have ended up into the mayor's office, or even Bloomberg for that matter.
To be honest, I was listening to the radio and I was talking about a trip to New York and visiting New York, and I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to visit New York again, New York City, because we've only been once and it was a very rushed, quick trip.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I would not go to New York City right now. You have to have a vaccine passport to do anything, to get in anywhere. No, thanks.
No, you can keep that.
Yep.
I'm good. Yeah. What else?
Luke said, did we get the bread and milk? Yes, we bought out all the bread and milk, and that's why there's none anywhere, because we have it here on Melton Mountain.
And toilet paper.
Yep.
Got it. Oh, you know what? Go get just for giggles. Go grab those Just Right cans.
Oh
Real
Lord,
quick. Folks. I have got something to show you. Look, you need. I'm just going to show you. I need to make a video on this. This is tactical related, I guess. I'm about to show you something amazing that every one of you need to go get yourself and do yourself a favor on this. Hold on, it's coming. The big reveal happening right now, right here. This is the best thing I've done for you all night, I promise you. So, hopefully while we're talking about that and what this is kind of related to is making sure that you're prepared, right? So we're on for those of you who've been to our house, we're kind of in an isolated area. The roads get icy out here. We're up in the mountain a little bit. It's easy to get kind of stuck back here. And if it snows, we're probably going to be back here for a day or so. Sometimes the power goes out. So it's just a matter of being prepared, right? So hopefully both within your own household, but also within vehicles, you guys are making sure that you're prepared. We saw what just happened in Virginia. People were stuck on the interstate. I'm sure most people didn't have water in their vehicles. They obviously were stuck there. Who knows how many of them were underdressed, and of course they're probably going to run out of fuel and things like that while they're stuck there for 20 something hours. So just being a little bit more mindful and being prepared, making sure you have some basic necessities. But let me show you something amazing here,
y'all.
So
this man's gonna kill me.
I needed some additional fuel. And I was so sick of these stupid safety these plastic things that you got to like twist and push and pull, and then they don't fill right and everything else. And then I knew I wanted to get some metal, some steel fuel cans. And folks, these Just Right cans are like works of freaking art. I wish I had my above.
Just Right.
Yeah, they are. So they got this like heavy duty fill spot right here. This is spill proof. So there's a lid right here that you open up, and this is where you can stick your nozzle in there, push the button,
that's my favorite
squeeze
feature,
the trigger,
honestly.
and it'll fill, and then it stops. But that's completely, if you knocks over, it's not, that's not going to open up. There's a seal there. Everything about these things are just overbuilt and amazing. And then, so this is the small one I got for the chainsaw, where I'll have my fuel mixture in here, my oil and fuel mixture. Everything's metal. It's going to last a long time. And then as you're pouring it, right, so you got this handle here that controls your flow. But these things
You said that really.
you need to invest in some of those. Now, what I'm probably going to do is probably get a couple more of these 5 gallon. There's a 5 gallon one there, and that one's 2.5 gallon. But these are like fuel works of art. They really are. They're amazing. I love them.
They are really nice.
They're pretty impressive.
But they better last like 30 years.
Yeah, they're like, they're $100.
Yeah.
They're $100 a piece. They're no joke for a gas can. But you know what? They're going to last a long time, and they make life easier, and they're not going to spill. Now, I think for storage, kind of like if you're going to store, what I always try to do is keep 20 to 40 gallons of fuel between the different. We got chainsaw, four-wheeler,
dirt bike,
generators. 2 vehicles. So I try to keep 20 to 40 gallons of fuel on me. And I think like the jerry cans, as far as actual storage, probably keep 3 or 4 of those full of fuel. That just makes it, you can store more fuel in a very compact way. But as far as you can fill those up, and it just makes it easy to fill whatever it is you're filling. So anyways, make sure you bond them. I was concerned about this, Stefano. I looked this. I actually Googled this. I couldn't find anything about that. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just have to do some more research on that. You're probably right. It makes sense.
Cable will do the trick.
Yeah. $100 for ones that are going to last. Bonding cable.
I know, you're right.
I'll have to look that up. Bonding cable.
Okay, see, Dan, this comment's for you. When you said you're too cheap, you've been eyeing them forever, but your cheap ass never bought one.
You just gotta push it. Just got to push it, send the order, and then you feel better. And then they arrive and they look at them.
He says it's a long story. He's an electrician.
Nice. Okay. No, I will research that without a doubt.
Do that.
But again,
it'll be me that gets electrocuted or something.
Well, it's not electric. If you mix that with fuel and electricity, it's an explosion. And that is another thing too. Those are actually I won't say explosion proof, but they're designed to where they actually stay intact. And it has a vent, and it's going to vent out, if they do catch fire. So there's some other built-in safety there that you're not going to see with those plastic pieces of garbage.
John said he wants to hear about Summer's Restaurant Paramount Tactical Sandwiches. They're not sandwiches. Well, I guess I could do barbecue sandwiches.
Yeah. So Summer, I will give her full credit. She is without a doubt the most unbelievable cook that I've ever met. No, she's good. We always tell her that she needs to open up a restaurant. So I don't know, maybe one of these days
the story was I had smoked some pork last night, and we were eating dinner, and he said again, you need to open a restaurant.
Yeah, she just does. I mean, honestly, all the food that she makes. But again, does that translate to her being able to, scale that up? I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard to scale up recipes.
So, and then on top of that, that's, the restaurant business is a hard business to get into. I don't know. We'll have to have her do some barbecue and bring out to the ranges and stuff like that. Until then, she's going to continue to feed me. And that's all that matters. Just right. I got them off of Theodore. I got those off of Amazon. Just right. With free shipping off of Amazon, they end up being about $15 to $20 cheaper.
I even looked them up on our Uline account that we use for all of our shipping stuff. And
Uline, yeah.
It was the price was good, but the shipping was expensive.
Yeah.
So it ended up cheaper on Amazon with the shipping.
It's like $15, $20 to ship those things. Whereas on Amazon, it's the same price or about the same price, and then it's free shipping. So either one of those.
Oh, somebody from Jefferson.
Nice. Good to see you. Lock and Load 223. Yeah. So again, big fan of those.
Daryl said, bring me a sandwich at the next pickup.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Between her brisket, and I'm from Texas. So between her brisket and I'll tell you that the pork shoulder that she just did, a smoked pork shoulder that she just did was pretty amazing. But her brisket, she's come a long way on that.
I think you mostly want it for the caramel cake.
Caramel cake definitely sealed the deal. That's what got me to put a ring on it. Her caramel cake.
It's a pretty good cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we covered fuel.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to.
We covered the restaurant. We covered fuel.
Make sure that we don't blow up. Make sure that it deals with static.
We got the bread and the milk. We got firewood. I think we're pretty good.
Yeah. So again, don't take winter for granted. Don't take it. Between exposure, between slick roads and things like that. Make sure you got a trauma kit in your car. Again, a matter of fact, taking Jackson to school this morning, there was a tree that fell on a car. I mean, just almost completely crushed that car. And it's just those little things like that. And everything in winter, the environment just wants to kill you that much more and is much more likely. So do what you can and take a little bit of time to prepare for those things. Make sure you have
Tyler's got
jumper
a great
covers.
question. He says, do you guys have somewhere to park a camper near the training facility? My family and I are going full time this summer. Would love to come train. Actually, there is a full campground.
Yep.
Probably maybe 5 miles from the range.
Yeah, and on top of that, depending on what range we go to, we may be able to secure an area for you there at the range, depending on what's going on.
Just because it would have full hookups and
Yeah, no, but without a doubt, this is West Virginia.
Yep.
There's whole communities that are built around being able to hook your RVs up. But all joking aside, there's some great campgrounds around here, very nearby. We'd love to have you guys out and do some training with us. And there's some that'd be easy to do.
You're causing other people to spend money.
First, see, there you go, Theodore.
It said 2 class prices with and without summer sandwiches.
Damn right. Summer sandwiches and some caramel cake.
A slice of cake. Yep.
You'll be thanking us for that.
Any size with Andy, I don't know. I'll give you the campground name. I think they're online or at least have a Facebook page.
We'll post that to our Facebook.
Yeah, campground
tonight.
Campground near Shadowhawk. Yep.
And if we're using any of the facilities, whether it be for long range, whatever else, we'll probably end up.
Yeah.
We probably just need to put that in like a kind of need to add that type of thing to our welcome letter, and then maybe some more information on our website as well. But that's a never-ending process. Just ask Dan. What other questions?
John said we're bailing out the economy.
That's
One
right.
just right gas can at the time.
I need to get a freaking reference code.
royalty of
Yes,
that. Or
royalty,
something. Yeah, we need a referral code on that.
You know what I did, folks? I also ordered one of the Eagle brands. I don't know if you guys have seen the Eagle. You could tell from the website and just from looking at them that they're not nearly as good, but I was still torn between the two, between the Eagle and the Just Right. And I'm waiting on the Eagle to arrive here, but I wanted to do a quick comparison video.
Oh, Derek's got it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Lazy A.
Yeah, the Lazy A.
Yep, there you go.
They need to book now. I need to fill up. Really?
Well, I didn't know. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And
It was a pretty well-kept secret back there.
yeah. Yep. So that is nearby, the Lazy A. And then I don't know if
cool area
what's
too.
the state park? Do they have? I wonder if they have anything.
What's
They may have camp Sleepy Creek.
no,
Sleepy Creek.
no, it's just a wildlife management area. I think you might content camp, but they don't have like a campground.
And I do know that there's a few other campsites. They won't be as close as the Lazy A, but still within 20, 30 minutes. There's a couple other ones out there as well.
Yeah.
So
What is? Oh, there we go.
there you go.
We just
I'll
need to
tell
put
you.
them on the freaking website and sell
Look,
them
look,
ourselves.
I'll be honest with you. I knew those things were nice, but when I got them in the mail and actually pulled them out of the box,
They were pretty.
they're
impressive.
freaking impressive.
They are.
The level of attention to detail and just like the coatings on them are clearly,
Yeah. I was a little pissed that you spent $100 a piece on a gas can, but then when they came, I was like, oh, those are pretty nice. I do like the way they feel.
Yep.
What good ranges are there around Martinsburg? So you can go and rent a bay up at Shadowhawk Defense nearby. 340 Defense. We haven't been out there in a long time.
I don't even know what's going on with 340.
Yeah.
I will look for. I will definitely point you toward Shadowhawk.
Yeah.
Lynn and Randy, who own that place, they've been really good to us.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that I forgot what the bay rental is. It's very reasonable for getting your own bay and having a little bit of freedom to do what you need to do without a bunch of silliness that you're going to see at a lot of other ranges. And so I would definitely point you toward Shadowhawk.
Yeah.
And they have, I don't know if they have, I know you can do hourly bay rentals. And I guarantee you, if you talk to them, if you're going to do more and bring a couple friends out, you could probably get out there and spend some time out there and do some good training on your own, or at least some good shooting, whether it be zero and rifles, whatever else you need to do for a very reasonable rate. So
Andy said he's got a bounce Andy, have a good night. Paul's here. Paul says Shadowhawk, $20 for the first hour, $10 the second hour.
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Nope.
That's like a sore Peter.
Oh,
Can't
God,
beat it.
here we go.
Can't beat it.
Ed said bonding cables are a real thing for flammable fluid transfer.
Well, I will check out that real thing.
Yeah.
Because I know these being metal, I was like, I wonder if there's an issue with static electricity. I was looking, I didn't see a bunch of stuff online, but I will definitely check this out.
Andy said thanks. Yep. Well, we sold some just
I
right
don't
gas cans.
Summer. I always send Summer down to fill up the gas cans, and the last thing I want her to do is to catch on fire. I would hate if that's so bad if she was down there catching.
This might be a plan, guys. Just saying. This might be a plan.
Hate for her to have to do that.
Yeah.
What else? Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Well, folks, I think we're going to get off here. But listen, I really appreciate everybody coming out. I appreciate it was a good, good hour and a half.
Good first one back, too.
Yeah. We'll talk to Andy. We'll see if we can get out and have kind of a med session. I also got some other things lined up for some live streams in the very near future. We're gonna have some guests on here I think that you guys will really like. So anyways, we'll
so
continue.
you don't have to listen to us ramble the whole time.
I mean, we're pretty amazing. We may not be famous, but we should be.
We should.
Anyways, all joking aside, hey, we really appreciate you guys coming out. We want you to have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you have a wonderful new year. And again, if you guys have any questions, you guys know you can email us, text us, call us, whatever you need to do. Get a hold of us. We're always accessible for the most part. So yeah, we appreciate you showing up. We appreciate the business. Go on, come to some courses this year, go spend some money on the website, go buy some sweet shirts. And again, we appreciate all the support that you guys give us each and every time. It means a lot to us. And we appreciate
just real quick, we have added some new stuff to the website, new products. So get on there and check it out. Browse
what
around.
Did we add?
Well, we got all this new scope leveling stuff.
Yep. So we got whole scope leveling packages together that we put together for you.
A bunch of new Real Avid stuff. We've restocked some of the AccuTacs. We got some more Tika T3s on there.
Entire gun maintenance package bundles.
Yep.
We've been trying to put together bundles, whether it be gift bundles, but just like gun maintenance bundles, gun cleaning bundles, scope leveling bundles. So
I just added some new types of fix-it sticks, like different products from the line. So
they actually just came out with some new stuff that I need to actually put together some video and just do overviews on those. So because those are pretty cool too. Anyways, folks, we really appreciate all the support. Continue to support us. And thank you so much. And if we don't talk to you, have a good, wonderful weekend. And until next time, stay armed, stay ready, and we'll talk to you soon.